I like big bullets, and size does matter. Welcome to the Hideout today, and today we're going to talk about something I really enjoy, and that's big bullets. Before we get started though, please click subscribe. I really appreciate it. Please click like and click that little ringy dingy out there and get your notification. Today we're going to talk about .44 Magnum, and we're going to talk in particular about the Smith Wesson Model 29. Now, there are people I'm sure that just specifically collect Model 29 Smith & Wessons. I can't do that because the variations of them out there are just, you know, since 1955 up until today, they're still making Model 29s and various models, barrel lengths, grips, all kinds of stuff. And we're going to talk about some of those in a minute. But before we do, let's go back and talk about, of course, Dirty Harry Callahan. You know, do you feel lucky, punk? I don't know the exact words, but we all have to know when that movie come out, like in 1971, man, the Smith & Wesson Model 29 took off. Now, childhood memory here, tell you something about my age. I remember my father going to the movie and seeing Dirty Harry. And my dad, from that point on, like every other man in the world probably, men, wanted a Model 29 Smith & Wesson at the time. Couldn't find one. Why? They were selling like freaking hotcakes and high dollar if you could get one. The demand was crazy. So guess what? Ruger come out with the Super Black Hawk in the same year to compete with Smith & Wesson. So let's go back and start just a little bit. 55, I'm sorry. Elmer Keith and some of these gurus who had the money, the time, and the expertise to play with these things like we'd all like to, took the 44 Russian, come out and made the 44 Special, and then what they like to do, like all of us, we like to add a little bit more gas, a little bit more gunpowder, a little bit more, and get a little bit more out of it, and come out with a 44 Magnum in 1955. The first model, blued, you know, it was a 29. A couple years later, they come out with the 29-1. Then they come out with a 29-2. Then they come out with the -3, -4, -5, and so on and so forth. Different varying lengths, and to change things between these things is sometimes they would say, okay, let's just say in 1990, and I don't know these numbers, the people that collect these would, and you guys look it up and let me know some information. I decide I want to do the 29-6, and the only difference in the handgun would be I've now got rubber hole grips on it instead of the wood grips. So now we go to 29- whatever. I've got a couple laying here we're going to look at. And you know, there were times when the only thing they did change was the barrel length. We got one right here. This is a 29-2. The 29-2s, I'm going to say, were probably, I don't know, 60s, 70s or so. This is an extremely nice handgun. And I'm going to look just and see. I'm thinking this is probably about an 8-inch barrel on it. Yeah, we got an 8-inch barrel. Yeah, 8-inch barrel. 29-2. You can look at it. Smith & Wesson. Push forward, release the cylinder, it spins. Got a nice big hammer on it. The sights that they're known for, you can see the sights. Nice handgun. Then the pistol grip. Now, I do not have huge hands. I don't have small hands. I'm gonna think I got normal hands. I wear probably, depending on the glove, an extra large, maybe a 2X. It depends on the glove. But the Smith & Wesson pistol grips to me sometimes are a little bit big. So many people they're not. But anyway, we're talking about this, and I'm going to show you one thing that I do know. This is a 29-2. I'm going to put a bullet in it just so you can see. And you can see on this one that the bullet goes and falls below the cylinder lip. See that? It's not sticking up, it's flush. You can see it. All right, now let's take it out and try it in another one. Maybe this one here. Let's see what it does in this one. All right, this one right here, you'll see it rises above the cylinder. You see that? That's one of the differences that we go from like a 29-2 to a 29-3. That would be the sole difference in the handgun. We went and recessed the cylinder so that that 44 Magnum cartridge could set down inside there a little bit deeper and it not have a lip out there. And then we go and we got a Model 29s, and then Smith & Wesson does the same thing here, and they nickel them out and chrome them up. And to this day, this is a 629. They put the 6 out in front of them to designate that what? It's this color instead of this color. The only difference in the handguns. Pistol grips are the same, they're interchangeable. Almost everything's a change when they're interchangeable. And you know, Smith & Wesson, these things are known for having a good trigger too. You're not going to get good triggers on Glocks and polymer pistols and stuff like that you can get on a revolver or any revolver, matter of fact, or a 1911, because they're just not designed that way. I'm going to do a trigger pull on this just for the hell of sake of doing it. Excuse me, I got a little crap in my throat this time of year. Let's do a trigger pull. That's just a 3.8 there, pretty light. You know, everybody wanted these things and you just can't be found. They're still very, very collectible. Like I said, a person could get in just collecting Model 29s. And then, but like I said, not everybody could afford one, not everybody could find one. So Ruger come out with the Super Blackhawk. Now, in many ways, I like the Super Blackhawk more than I do the Model 29. No, it's not a Dirty Harry model, but there are some things about it that I do like better. For example, you know, look at the size of a pistol grip. I can get my hand around it a lot better than I can a Smith & Wesson. But if you'll notice, this little bump right here on the Smith & Wesson is missing on the Ruger. If you'll notice, the trigger guard on the Smith & Wesson is around here. It's not on the Ruger. And I'm just going to be quite honest with you. The Ruger can be painful. It's a lot more difficult to shoot. It's got basically the same sights, if you can see on the back between the two. You've got fine sights. They're all good handguns. They're all good for self-defense, black bear country, grizzly bear country, brown bear country. They're all hand cannons. And a lot of people make fun of them as being hand cannons. They're not something you want to carry. I do carry a Smith & Wesson 44. You guys seen it on my chest rig when I'm in bear country. But we're talking about the Model 29. You have to love them. They're highly collectible. There's not a lot that I can sit here and tell you about them other than, hell, I'm going to cheat and look. There are 10 different models. You've got, yeah, there's 10 different models of them from 1955 up until today. They didn't become popular, like I said, until Dirty Harry come out with Make My Day or Do You Feel Lucky Punk. Do You Feel Lucky Punk was a deal, and after that they just, you know, skyrocketed and everything else. It's kind of like when Barack Obama become president. He sold more damn guns than anybody in history have ever sold guns. When he was elected president, gun sales tripled overnight. And that's what happened with the Model 29. So I think I'm going to take a little time and try to learn more about the Model 29 and the different variations. You got the 6-inch barrel, the 8-inch barrel, the 6 and the 1/8-inch barrel, the whole rubber grip barrel, and then there's a couple of specific ones like the 4-inch ones and stuff that are very, very hard to find and be highly collectible, and you need to keep your eye out for those at the gun shows. So until we get to talk about this again, instead of shoot them today, please guys, always shoot safe and shoot straight until we shoot again.